You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin, and we're going from one of my favorite subjects, sports, to another, which is movies, TV, creativity. I love movies, and I went right out of college, and I worked for a TV and film production company, and kind of saw myself in Hollywood someday making movies. That did not happen because life gets in the way. Instead, I'm here on the set of America Trends talking to you, and I'm talking to our next guest. He is the head of Liquid Media Group. His name is Ron Thomson. He is the CEO of Liquid Media Group, and they are revolutionizing content for the streaming age. Digital media has changed so much. The digital revolution has changed how we see movies, how we consume movies, how we make movies, everything. So Ron, he is zooming in from Canada, I believe, Toronto.
I am. Hi, how are you, Mary?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm so happy to meet you. And I was looking all through your website last night, looking at what you're doing, and it's fascinating. And I don't know if you heard my little intro. I think a lot of people want to be movie makers out there. And with technology, things are changing so rapidly, but also becoming more accessible. And there's new ways to do everything. And it sounds like your company is on the cusp of everything that's happening right now in movie making and video games as well, right?
Yes, and it's all about video. It's all about professional video, and that's film and television and cinematic video games. And so we've come up with a overall business solution to help content creators. That's producers, production companies, mini majors, basically take their content ideas, package them better, finance them in a safer way, deliver them, and then monetize them again and again and again at scale as a real business. And look, we are very passionate about what we do. We represent major film and television producers and content creators, IP creators. And we found a solution which really gives them the confidence to go off and create, to do what they're best at doing, and to really provide them with the tools and with the business acumen and structure to ensure that they can actually execute time and time again at scale and make a real business of it, so that it's really an entertainment business.
And lucrative.
Sort of like that old adage of, this is not show art, it's show business.
Right, absolutely. Well, and I like, it's an end-to-end solution I read on your site. And so I was just saying there, from inception, from concept, right, all the way through to how do we stream it? Where do we do? There's so many deals and so many logistics in there that any creative type might be a little overwhelmed with all the business side of it. I know that's one thing that happened to me. So I thought, I can't figure out all that stuff. I just want to be creative. But first,
you go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to hear a little bit about you and how, your journey before you started with Liquid Media.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'd love to say it was a brief journey and that I'm only, 28, but unfortunately that's just not the case. I used to have more hair then. But no, I come from the film and television world and from technology, and I've built and operated a couple of major technology companies in film and television and music industry. Eventually, I created my own company, which is a business development and financing company for film and television and the industry at large. We've been going for over 22 years. The company is called Thomson Group, and it's a very global company with 5 offices around the world. And when I met the great people at Liquid Media back in December, they identified my skill set as being relevant to basically recalibrating what they had been attempting to do. And to really give it a new voice and a new relevance, and to help them create something that would be truly unique and powerful in a world which, frankly, is the world is exploding. The professional video business is exploding, given the distribution platforms, the subscription video on demand services like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu, etc. And so I think what we've assembled is a winning solution to really, take things to the next level. And so I think that's really leveraged significantly my skill set, my access to key decision makers in the industry, my understanding and my team's understanding of the industry and where the opportunity is, and frankly where the pain points are. because there are pain points, and that's what we're responding to.
Yeah. Well, before we get into, the streaming, because there's so much I want to ask about that and the future of where everything's going. Did you actually work in filmmaking yourself, did you say? And was that in Toronto, or did you come to Hollywood? I know that I want to think Hollywood's the hub, but I know that Toronto, there's a lot of filmmaking up in Canada.
There certainly is, and Toronto really is a hub. I've been involved in television production, financing, distribution, creation, and film creation production now for a good part of my career. And so I've been involved in creating and financing and packaging major television and films for decades now. I've always done it for my clients, and have really never have done it quietly and discreetly, and never really sharing or taking a credit for it per se. Increasingly, however, clients and people have come to me with over the last 10 years and asked, please, would you take a stake? Would you get involved as an executive producer? Would you help guide this thing? And so increasingly, I have been doing that, and I've gained some significant experience doing that. So it's very exciting. It's very fun. It's extremely hard work. It's nerve-wracking, but I tend to be on the business side of the equation always, which we call the executive production part of of producing.
And what would you say is the nerve-wracking part of it? Because of course, to people at home, it looks so glamorous and so fun. But when you're in it, I mean, every minute on a shoot is money, right? Because you've got the crew and everything happening. Is that the part that's nerve-wracking, or is it taking a risk on a storyline, or what's the nerve-wracking part?
Do you know what I've found is typically I'm not really involved in the day-to-day production decisions. My primary role is in basically taking all the elements and packaging them together, creating so start with the script. It's helping to package talent with the script. It could be for a film or a TV series. It's helping to create some commercial momentum. Maybe it's pre-sales, maybe it's a distribution commitment, maybe some form of commercial activity to demonstrate that somebody actually wants this, that there's going to be a demand for it at the end. And then using that and the elements that we've created in the packaging to help lure or bring the financing to the table to basically get it all done. And the nerve-wracking bit is when that all comes together. And I've been involved in some quite large films where that is always very, very frightening, because there's people who have expended enormous amounts of time, energy, and their creative passion. And so my job is to honor that passion and to assist them in getting these things packaged, financed, and over the sort of the goal line, so that they can actually get into production and then execute with the director and the creative team, so they can deliver it, have it distributed, and complete the process, and recoup their investment, and hopefully create profitability.
Can you tell us any of the names of the movies?
Sure. I think maybe one of them that I was involved in that we can talk about is a film that I did a few years ago called The Nut Job. That was an animated feature film.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fairly big deal. And I got involved, as I typically do, once they got to a certain stage and had difficulty completing it. They ran out of capital and funds to finish it. And we had to find a way to repackage it, reshuffle the deck, add some things, subtract some things, and find a way to find that final financing, what I call the last mile financing, which we did. And we delivered a movie which was a significant budget, but frankly, the box office globally on that movie was enormous, just enormous.
That's amazing.
So we got lucky with that particular movie, but I think that's illustrative of the kind of work that I'm regularly dependent on doing for our clients. And now, as Liquid Media, we are leading the charge to do this again and again for companies at scale. And
so, I think that there's about, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, about 3 big studios, like the big studios that kind of own the big control of the portion of the movie industry as we kind of know it. But now with streaming and groups like yours, Liquid Media Group, and other businesses, It seems like that's changing. Is that accurate?
Well, our industry is evolving. The old studio system is a mature business which is constantly undergoing change, and you only have to look at what's happened in companies, large studios like Warner Brothers, where they've had such an enormous change in their whole focus of how they're running their own operation. The assets that they own and control, what they're seeing as their vision for the future, because the old model that we all have grown up in has changed. It's been moving, and
I'm gonna have you put a pin in that right there, because that's a perfect cliffhanger to talk about what it was, where it's moving to. We got to take a break, and we'll come back right away with Ron Thomson of Liquid Media Group right after this. You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin, and I'm having a fascinating conversation with Ron Thomson of Liquid Media Group. He's zooming in from Toronto. And Ron, we were talking before the break about the kind of the old school way of big movie productions. They owned everything and they kind of ruled the movie industry. But now with the digital revolution and the way streaming's happening and everything is changing, so companies like yours, Liquid Media Group, they can come in and there's a new face to everything, correct?
There is, and I think the old studio model of the old studios were vertically integrated and would create, would finance, would produce, and would deliver and distribute their own content. Increasingly, that's just not the case, where the large studio behemoths are focused on what they call their tentpole productions, the large, sort of anthologies that they put big marketing dollars behind, which leaves, the vast, what we call the independent world of producers and production companies and distributors and many majors and even the studios, frankly, without a kind of a reliable mechanism to help them go from beginning, middle to end at scale. And that is the pain point that we're addressing. And it's really giving all of these independents, which actually in the old days were relatively small percentage, and now it's a massive percentage of the companies that are producing professional content, video content, are independent, and they need a voice. They need a helping hand that can provide leadership and guidance and clout, and that's what Liquid Media is designed to do.
So if let's say I am someone and I have, I have a script going on in my notes of my phone always, but let's say I have a script, I have maybe some startup capital, I have a somewhat of a B-name celebrity, someone that's a family friend and they're involved and they'd like to participate, and I have all these ideas and I just can come to you. Is that at the point when I would come to Liquid Media and I'd say, hey, I have X, Y, and Z lined up, now I need help? Or at what point would I come to you?
Mary, you can always come to us, for sure.
I got a script written for you.
But we tend to focus on more mature projects, perhaps from recognized companies that need that last mile. And typically, we work with a lot of companies, some very well-known names that household names, that get themselves in the difficulty where they're 90% financed or they're 90% packaged, yet it's missing that last mile, that last bit, and it's the trickiest bit, frankly, and that is what we specialize in, is providing in a safe, repeatable way that last mile, whether it's the packaging, and we have a fantastic model that uses a real intelligence, big data analytics to help us break down and analyze and predictively model how something will perform, so that we can look at that and already, I don't want to say de-risk, but we already know a lot of the key variables about how it will perform, when it will recoup its investment, how's the best way to distribute it, what the budget really should be, who are the talent, who are the actors, and who's the director who's best suited to maximize the effect of this. That's a critical part, that kind of intelligence, using technology, using statistics, basically doing our homework, which many companies, producers and independents are not used to doing. And it's always been in our industry, decisions to finance and to greenlight things are based on ad hoc decision makers, on taste makers in the studios.
Yeah.
And that's changing with the fact that the big studios really aren't necessarily in the lead anymore. You have this vast world of independence. You have all these streaming companies who essentially are providing visibility to serialized and film projects around the world. And so there's really been a disintermediation of the distribution landscape, away from the old studio system and towards a more, so to say, democratic streaming and even televisual, because television is still alive and well in many parts of the world. And
Yeah.
We're on television now. So it's not going away. It's changing. Everything's changing. But you really need to understand what's the trends and where things are going to be able to see where the opportunities lie. And on behalf of content makers, we've identified that certainly adding technology, adding packaging, adding financial logic, and a really sound approach to helping people finance whether it's a $50 million movie or a $120 million television show. It's the same. It's the same methodology that we approach each size with, and then we deliver them using best-in-class technology. We work with the filmmakers, the television producers, to utilize asset management and real best practices to deliver and then monetize, and to do it through over the top, through the middle, SVOD, AVOD, fast channels, as well as the old traditional distribution system. And that's cool. It's super cool. And that's where the market's going.
Now, you also work in the gaming industry as well, correct?
The company, I have certainly been working in gaming for years. We have been, as a company in the past, focused on cinematic video games. We're really, if you like, amalgamating that into our monetization engine. We call it gamification now. And it's really about how we can use gaming strategy, gaming thinking, gaming technology, gaming art to better monetize and to better work with audiences, to engage audiences, to create larger properties, which we can of course monetize and make more exciting for audiences. So that's really where we're focused.
Yeah, it's certainly a big market, is the gaming world. Both streaming of movies and games. That's where kids and the younger generation they're spending so much of their time, right?
Yes.
Now, tell me about Real House. That's an online community for movies. And we only have about one more minute, so tell me about that quickly.
So Real House is a platform that we acquired years ago, and we've essentially overhauled it, brought it up to speed. And essentially, it is a destination that we're in the process of relaunching under a different name, and I won't drop any spoilers. But essentially, it is an online, on-demand platform for independent film and filmmakers.
Great.
And it's very, very timely. We have a very, very large archive of leading independent films.
Wow.
And then we have Slipstream, which it's really its sister company, where we focused on
video games,
subscription video on demand, and that's for action adventure sports.
Oh, action adventure sports, that's right. Well, thank you so much, Ron, for taking the time to chat with us. I know it's a little bit later in the day, your time, so I appreciate you zooming in from Toronto. And good luck with everything, and I hope we'll talk soon. Everyone at home, stick around again. We'll see you later this week.